On the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, he was the first overall selection. The Colts moved down about this time last week, and actually decided not to go with any of these trade offers they were getting because they had their guy, Rock Ya-Sin from Temple. The corners on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Did you have any idea at all? Did you think that the Colts had you as a hard target at that position, or were you thinking something else at the time?
Honestly, I wasn't sure at all. I wasn't sure.
How was the entire process going for you? Was it enjoyable? Did you feel like somewhere in that neighborhood with all those other cornerbacks that somebody was going to take you off the board?
Yes, sir. I feel like it was about time for me to come off the board. I mean, I wasn't sure, honestly. Just from talking to my agent and stuff, he was telling me late first, early second. So I was just sitting there anxiously waiting to get the phone call.
Was it anxiousness because you were excited you were going to get that phone call, or just, man, hurry up and get this damn thing over with? What was the feeling like?
Just ready to get to work, ready to get to know who I was playing for, where I was going to be playing, and, just ready to get in and get to work, honestly.
It's Rock Ya-Sin of Temple, and he's the Colts quarterback now, the rookie, and they're meeting out on the west side. We're talking to him on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I'm curious, as far as what the Colts saw in you, how much did they look at you prior to drafting you last week?
I thought they looked at me a lot. I mean, they were there at Pro Day. I mean, obviously the combine, I met with them at the combine, talked to them throughout the process, with the scouts and some of the front office people, and I feel like, they liked me, but I wasn't sure at the time if they were actually going to pick me.
When you got to Temple, and listen, I admire you a great deal because I did a little backstory research on you, and you got a single digit, which means you were one of the hardest workers once you got to Temple. You didn't have a lot of time to work on that, but did you have in the frame of mind that you were ultimately going to get to the NFL by making that move from Presbyterian to Temple?
Yes, sir. I felt like I was going to get to the NFL if I stayed at Presbyterian or if I transferred to Temple. But I knew that, talking to my coaches, it was best for me to move on from Presbyterian just because of playing in the non-scholarship conference and the downfall of that. So, I mean, the decision was made that, it was probably best for me to move on, and that's what I did. I trusted my coaches. I mean, at Presbyterian, they told me, hey, you need to go to Temple. I was like, I trust y'all. I brought me this far, so I'm going to continue to believe in y'all, and they didn't steer me the wrong way.
When you decided to make that transition from Presbyterian to Temple, did you have any other schools in mind, or was it pretty much a focus on Temple the entire time?
Honestly, I let my coaches handle it, and they sent my film to Temple, and Temple liked it. I mean, that was just so because my coach told me that I would have success there. I would be able to go in, and they had a good culture, and they were building something there. So I felt like I'd go in and, assimilate myself to their culture and have success, and that's what I did. Thank God.
So Rock Ya-Sin's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I like you three different ways. I'm going to get to all three if you wouldn't mind. I'll make it really quick for you. Number one is I love a dude with a chip on his shoulder because that chip, and you probably have utilized this in whatever sport we're talking about, whether it's football or wrestling, it's a motivational chip. It's extra motivation for a guy that's already ultimately motivated. How much do you utilize that, and how much do you plan on utilizing it? And furthermore, how much has it helped you?
I feel like until the day I die, I'm going to have a big chip on my shoulder. I'm going to, work the hardest. I'm going to compete the hardest. I'm going to just try to get better every day. I feel like that's just what's got me this far. That's what continue to get me better and continue so I can continue to have success in this game of football and in life, really.
I'm right there with you. And the other thing is, you were rated coming out of high school as a 2-star, and I love anything that shoots down these whole how many stars you get, and this is where you're going to end up going, whether it's the SEC or the ACC, especially where you're from. I mean, you pretty much shot that right in the rear end, and I think that's fantastic.
Yes, sir. I mean, I felt like I was a bit under-recruited. I mean, for various reasons. One was because I only played 2 years of high school football. A lot of people didn't get a look at me, but the people that did get a look at me, they didn't offer me a scholarship, and they didn't really believe in me. So I feel like, part of my legacy is just, my journey is to prove people wrong, and I want to continue to do that, have success in the NFL and throughout life, just continue to prove people wrong. Everybody that doubted me, I want them to eat their words and continue to work hard and get better. That's just part of the motivation, a small part of it, but it is part of it.
Did it make you mad, and did it add to the motivation when you saw dudes around you that you felt, you know what, I'm going to be better than this guy, and, he may be going to an SEC school, this other guy may be going to an ACC school. Did that kind of weigh on you and motivate you even more?
It definitely motivated me. I feel like, competing in DeKalb County. I mean, every week you're playing against a 4-star, 5-star, UGA, Alabama commits, Power 5 school commits, and you play against them and you do well against them. So you think that, that'll equal you getting those offers, but it never came. So I feel like it just made the tip of my shoulder grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's going to continue to grow.
He's Rocky Ya-Sin of the Colts. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. The final thing is being a multi-star or multi-sport athlete in high school. We see that kind of disappearing. You got to specialize in this. You got to specialize in that. And you went multi-sport in high school. I think that's really important. How much did that help you out? Because obviously wrestling led you to the football field.
Yeah, so I feel like, the biggest thing is the mentality and mindset in wrestling, going out there and compete and not being afraid to compete one-on-one with anybody, no matter how good they are. And I feel like I brought that mentality to football, going against receivers, 4-star, 5-star, whoever they are, I'm going to compete and put my best foot forward. Second thing is the toughness. I mean, being a wrestler you have to be very mentally tough to have success in wrestling. And I feel like I brought that mentality of mental toughness and physical toughness also to the football field.
Is that a pretty big day in your life back in high school when somebody came up to you and you have to explain how this went down and said, hey, you're a great wrestler. Why don't you try football?
Yeah, I mean, my wrestling coach, it was kind of my mistake. In springtime, after wrestling season, my coach was telling me I should go lift with the football team to stay in shape. So I listened to him. I went and started listening with him. And then the football coach was like, you should come out for spring ball. And then I listened to him. I went out there for spring ball, and then the rest is history.
Dude, that is – I mean – is it kind of lucky at all? Do you think ultimately, even before this, or I should say after this, you would have found your way to the football field, or was that a pretty strong coincidence that day that took place?
It is pretty strong coincidence because I came to high school. I set on my goal of winning state championships and getting scholarships in wrestling, and then lo and behold, I'm an NFL football player. It's crazy.
I don't know if this is true or not. Where you're from down in Decatur County. Or around Decatur, Georgia. Is it Decatur County where you're from, or is it Decatur, Georgia? I'm sorry.
Decatur, Georgia.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Did the wrestling guys like the football guys and vice versa? Did you guys all get along, or was there a little animosity here or there?
There was a bit of animosity, a little bit, but I was the go-between because, I had playing football and wrestling, so I was kind of the peacemaker between the two.
You could probably whip everybody's ass. So I think you're probably all right in that department. But see, when I've known football teams, sometimes there's always a little bit of animosity, and there's not always a great deal of crossover from wrestling to football because there is so much, as you mentioned, discipline involved in being successful in wrestling.
Yes, sir, definitely. I mean, I think it's the most disciplined high school sport anyway. Because to be a good wrestler, you have to have a tremendous amount of discipline, work ethic, and talent only takes you so far in wrestling. You can be as talented as you want to be, but if you're not in shape and you don't work hard, do the little things right, you won't have much success in wrestling.
It's Rocky Ya-Sin with us. Before I let you go, what was your signature move in wrestling in high school?
I had a double leg takedown and a cross-face cradle.
Uh-oh. You're going to have to explain, because listen, brother, I didn't have that type of discipline. So you're going to have to explain to me what you just said. What is it?
Basically a tackle, double leg takedown. That's my takedown. And then once I got guys on the mat, my pinning combination was cross-face cradle.
That's awesome, man. Rocky Ya-Sin with us. Hey, I also think that you're going to have an incredibly popular jersey, not just here, but in the NFL. Can you give us a little backstory, a little background on the name?
Well, coming into high school, I had a wrestling coach. He couldn't pronounce my name at all. He just kept butchering it. So he said, I'm going to call you Rock. And it stuck. I mean, through high school, through college, and now here it's stuck. So I think it's a great name. It's a great nickname, and I love it. I
don't think it's weird, man. I've talked to you for about 10 minutes. I don't know your real name. Is it? What is it?
My real name, my given name is Abdurrahman. My mother and my father named that. My mom still calls me Abdurrahman. But outside of that, nobody really calls me Abdurrahman.
I got you. Rocky Ya-Sin, you got a great football name, man. You do. That's a hell of a football name right there. That's nice.
Yes, sir.
It is. Hey, congratulations. You look like you really enjoyed it, certainly, last week. And like I mentioned, a guy that has worked incredibly hard to get where he is. I know that Chris Ballard and the guys over there really appreciate that level of work ethic. And the fans are really going to like you around here. Get to it. And if you want to pop on the show anytime you can, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sir, thank you.
It's Rocky Ya-Sin right there, the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. There's a lot going on there. I do like it, though. I like it that he's a dude that has that chip, and I bring up the motivational chip for these guys all the time when talking to them, especially the first time. He was a 2-star football recruit out of high school that went to Presbyterian, was kind of talked into Temple by his Presbyterian coaches and trusted them. Only played 2 years of high school football and was talked into that because the wrestling coach says, why don't you go lift with the football team? And then the football coach says, hey, why don't you come out for football? And then I love multi-sport high school athletes. I hate the fact that in large part today you have so many single focus, one sport specializing of athletes. That breaks the mold on a lot of different areas. I mean, it really does. It's pretty cool. Rock Ya-Sin on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. We'll take a quick break, answer some of your calls about that and a lot more coming up next.